He says he needs training, but the run he just made, perfect light, beautiful wheelie, hit all the gears.
Okay, well, you know, I tell people there's amateurs racers. I'm an amateur senior, so I forgot to put my hood pins. First run here, I blew through the clutch. Lucky I blew through the clutch.
REVan Evan here. We're at the Nmra World Finals in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And this is a fan favorite going way back. Joe DaSilva Racing out of Canada, Pro 5.0 guy. And he's out here still racing the Foxbody that he started with. Well, you probably had cars before this, but this is the car that everybody knows. It currently has a Coyote in it. He's out here with his wife having fun. Joe, so great to see you.
Nice to see you. Always a pleasure, Evan. It's been a long time since I've been at this track. So the last time I was here was in 2000 when I won the Nmra World Championship here,
right,
on the Wednesday.
Man, so this is a classic historical Foxbody that's still out here. The old school muscle Mustangs guard, the old Fox fans know this car, but you might not recognize it because it's all de-stickered and stuff. It just looks like you're run-of-the-mill, maybe 11-second or a 12-second street LX. But you're back in the seat, you put it back together with a Coyote. Tell us a little bit about the history of the car. What got you involved in Mustang racing in the beginning? You used to come to Englishtown, that's where I met you, all the old races, and then we'll get into what drives you to be out here having fun at NMRA.
Well, I started doing local, basically local racing in Canada, bracket racing.
Right.
So we decided, you know what, let's go to Pennsylvania, Maple Grove, Pennsylvania. So person I met in the parking lot, the only Brian Wolf. So he was parked with his 86 GT, same color as my Coupe. We both basically parked in the parking lot. He was working on his car, and I started talking to Brian.
Right.
And he was such a nice guy, so it was like, wow, people down here are very nice, because I didn't really get out of the country much, except come down to the U.S.
Right.
So I got to blame Brian for getting me hooked. One, his attitude, he was nice. I said, you know what, I like it. And of course, Maple Grove Racing, and I started seeing the heads up racing. I'm like, that's what I want to do. So thanks to Brian, I spent a lot of money.
So back in the day, I mean, we're talking the late 80s, early 90s, if you raced a car, you were either bracket raced IHRA or NHRA, like in a stock or super stock, a car like that. So when these cars came on the scene, I mean, I got my Mustang in 87, and obviously this is an 86, but the heads-up racing thing took off. Super Ford magazine, and then we followed along with Muscle Mustangs, putting on events, and guys like you it was all about going fast, right?
We actually had no money, and we used every trick in the book, lighten up the car. We did tricks to run fluid, ice water through the upper plenum, through the EGR spacer.
Yep.
We did skirts out, like we basically covered that underneath the car. We lightened the car. We did so many tricks. We didn't have money. So, and then also driving, like you had to drive. Like you had if you had a car and you didn't drive, didn't matter how much power you had.
Totally.
It was all about improving your driving, power shifting, banging the gears, and that's how you got quick. You can get into a stock LX Coupe out of the factory, run 13.9 on Goodyear Gatorbacks.
Yeah, I remember that stuff. I mean, I was a poor college student when I had my 87 LX and had zero money. Not only could I not afford a set of sticky tires, I couldn't afford to put them on the car, because if I broke an axle or the transmission, there was no way I had any money to fix it. I had to buy books. Who knew? No. So you had to kind of figure out how to drive it, how to make it fast. Everything was brand new. How did you then take this car and go from a street car to Pro 5.0?
Well, we wanted to go fast, so basically it was a street motor, like a 306, and then we ended up putting a 331 cubic inch. We're all about motor. So me and my brother, NA, nitrous turbo, you're cheating. So eventually I had a 331, and I decided it's time to put some nitrous. So Compy car had a dual stage plate.
Right.
So I put one of those on. So my car literally went from 970s to 840s. And the time I went 840s when I used the second stage against my brother in Canada, because I was last qualifier because my training messed up and I fixed it.
Right.
And I said, what a better time to use second stage. So against my brother.
You guys, your brother, engine builder, you guys really were big on those 331 cubes. Why that cubic inch?
Well, my brother came up with that idea, the 331. It was less stroke than the 347, so it wouldn't wear out the rings as much, because it's 347, you go through more rings than you would. The 331, we wanted to buzz them right, 8,000 RPMs with nitrous, so it worked really well with the Jericho 4-speed.
but you guys always stuck with that 8.2 deck height.
We did as long as we could, and then we basically weren't comparing anymore. So we had a customer of ours, and we built him literally a race car,
right.
And he had a 417. It was actually a 408 cubic inch, and I bought the motor from him, and I put it in with nitrous. So it went from my new SN95 car.
Right.
Basically went from, you know, basically high mid 9s on motor to 9.0s with nitrous. So I like the big motor.
So Joe, back in the day when you had the small block and the nitrous in here, what was the quickest this car ever ran?
So 841 at 100, I think it was about 162 miles an hour with that setup.
And always with the stick shift.
Always the stick. I love the stick. As soon as we broke doing it, we loved it until we got to the Liberty transmissions. Then we had no more problems breaking transmissions.
So let's talk a little bit about what got you back out here, and let's talk about what combo's in the car now and how much fun you're having out here at NMRA.
Well, a big reason is my wife Carrie. So I said, you know what? Let's go to NMRA for the World Finals. I haven't been there in over 20 years. She's like, let's go. She's all about racing. So we hopped in the motorhome, hooked up the trailer and loaded the car, and we just want to come and see some old friends, you know, hang out and support NMRA because they're still around today because people are supporting them.
No doubt about it. So let's get into the mechanicals of your car here. Obviously, Joe has a shop up in Canada, famous for building cars, Cobras. You've built everything for customers up there. Biggest name in Canada in Mustang building.
Thank you.
What combo are you running right now? And then I heard a little rumor about something that might happen next year.
Correct. So basically, I still have the original 9-inch from the 80s when you couldn't buy a 31-spline axle. So that same rear end is still in this car. Then I end up, of course, reinforcing it and putting a ladder bar system. So back then, I think me and Brian started putting the semi-tubs in it. So people always figured out, like, how did you get that big tire? And they look underneath, it was a semi-tub.
Right.
And of course, we have a G-Force 4-speed, amazing tranny. So that works really well. And then of course, I put a Gen 2 Coyote off a 15 Mustang with the Cobra Jet intake, and of course the cold air tuned by my son Matt DaSilva. And it works pretty good. It makes about 440 at the rear wheels, this motor.
Oh, that's awesome. Here at the Bowling Green NMRA, Joe, you happy to be here?
I'm always happy to be here. It's been exactly almost 22 years since I've been here in 2000 when I won the World NMRA World Championship here. We had to wait for a Wednesday to finish the race because it rained on Sunday, rained on Monday and Tuesday. We ended up racing on Wednesday, and I always wanted to win a World Championship but win the last race because most champions never win the last race. So I wanted to make sure I won the World Championship and won the race.
And I hear you're racing an open comp, just kind of having fun with the Coyote under the hood, and love seeing this car.
Yeah, it's fun. Just enter a class to make some passes and shift some gears. You know, it's just nice to get it out and enjoy some racing. We want to do more of it. Just life's been busy working at the shop, but you know, it's time to start living for me and for my wife here, Carrie. So.
All right, we'll have fun out there.
Thanks. Nice to see you again. Great stories, by the way, Evan.
Thanks, man.
All right, keep it up.
So Joe, with this combination, you're running 1020s here. What's the quickest it's run?
Fastest was a 10-1. I'll be honest with you, the driver needs some work. Still, as much as I've raced my whole life, I tell people, when you get back, you got to relearn again. You got to start going back like rock. You go back into training, right? Go back to where you became.
He says he needs training, but the run he just made, perfect light, beautiful wheelie, hit all the gears, the hood stayed on.
Yep. Yeah, it did.
I'm throwing you right under the bus.
Well, it's okay. Well, you know, I tell people there's amateurs racers. I'm an amateur senior, so I forgot to put my hood pins First run here, I blew through the clutch. Lucky I blew through the clutch, pulled second gear, and here comes the hood. I'm like, oh no. Slam on the brakes, hood went back down, didn't break the windshield, a little bit of damage here, nothing can be fixed, thanks to JD Auto. You got some work on Tuesday, of course the grill. So we recovered, and I'm just here having a good time. Yeah, I want to win, but to be honest with you, I just want to enjoy the moment with my wife, that's all.
Yep, we were in the media center where you can see like half track to the finish line, and this red Mustang comes whizzing by with the hood up, and I was like, oh no, that's Joe.
Well, thanks for spilling the beans.
Maybe I'll cut that part out.
No, I'm good with that. Listen, in racing, it can always be worse. You know, you could crash the car, it could have broke the windshield, damaged the roof. Honestly, I'll take that. I'm not upset about it. She was a surprise. She didn't want to come back to the trailer, but I'm like, I'm just like, you know, it is what it is.
Well, it's cool to see Joe out here. We're going to take a look in the cockpit now. We'll show you what this 86 is all about. All right, Joe, so here's what the cockpit looks like. Funny car cage. Still got the original dash in there. Got that Mickey Thompson sticker and that awesome long engineering vertigauge shifter hooked to that G-force transmission. Take us through a run real quick, Joe.
So basically, you get in the car, you get strapped in. Make sure you always want to be comfortable. When I got here, I forgot we moved the seat for Carrie, so I had to move the seat back. Being comfortable in the race car is the most important thing you could do. If you're uncomfortable and you're not feeling right in the car, you'll never be fast because you're just jammed up. So I usually get in, I turn on the ignition, I check my tack. Sometimes, you know, people tap them or whatever, they reset. So I always make sure it's the right RPM. I want to shift that. So get ready to go, fire it up, put it in first gear. Basically go around to the burnout box. I usually give it some gas, spin through first gear, pull second gear. You basically hit the brake, hold the line lock, rev it right up to the moon, let the clutch out. Just the thing you'll know if it's a spool, the car will float. If it's a posi, I tell people if the car's jerking one way, it means it's one wheel peel, so we know already. So nice burnout. I usually let it run out of the burnout box, put it back in neutral, put the clutch back in, put it in first gear. I like to get comfortable, just, you know, okay, now I'm going to focus. And this last pass, I really wanted to focus because Julian next door, he's an old racer, and I wanted to show him that I haven't been in racing back for a long time, that I can still cut a light. But that's besides the point. So first gear, get pre-stay, so I get one light on, I watch make sure that he has one light, and then we know we're ready to rock and roll here. So basically, Juno went in, I went in, as soon as they went in, basically, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, and then put the clutch in, just coast to the end, and hope you had a good run. Simple as that. Awesome. It becomes a routine. Sometimes you go through the run in my pro car, my other car, I always wonder if I shifted all the gears, but when you go 620s, you know you shifted all the gears.
Joe, now I found something here behind the seat that I'm going to pull out that just kind of pretty much says it all. I'll let you hold it up.
So this plate I've had since the 80s, so I have two of them. And believe it or not, this plate got me in a lot of trouble at the border because I used to bring 8-second LX plate and the Pro 5 Little plate. So if I didn't run any 8s, I would put the Pro 5 Little plates on it, like we have on there on the car now. So customers asked me what I was doing with an extra set of plates. They thought I was going to smuggle the car back to Canada. I said, no, it's just an extra set of plates. So this is my original Pro 5 plate. The old ones are, you can actually hurt somebody with this, and you can break into the Mustang with it, believe it or not. So it's a cool plate. I still have both of them in the other set. And I've been asked, actually, I had a guy here asked me on Wednesday if I would like to sell it. I said, I can't. I'll never sell this plate. So it's part of this car.
Awesome, Joe. Well, we thank you a lot. Have fun out there racing. Always a pleasure to see you. And go some rounds this weekend.
Listen, guys, keep following Evan here at Nmra. It's a great thing they have going. We're just happy that we have a playground to go take our cars to. I wish I'd come down more, and I will. Just life, you know, I'm trying to enjoy life with my wife and just do different things besides racing. Of course, I got my favorite car. It took me 35 years to get my AC Cobra. It's one of my fun passions. I take it out on the weekend, go for a drive. So we love what we're doing, love what you guys. Evan, thanks for everything you've done for me for the last 30 years. You've always covered the Canadians, and we appreciate that. Thank you.